Hey friends, it has been a long, hot minute since I have done one of these, and honestly, I don't know what called me today to make a 10-minute daily where we work on your mindset for 10 minutes a day. And I don't know, it's just like a feeling I've been having. It's been growing inside me for the past few weeks, I guess, that I don't know, hit me today, like film. So here I am filming. And the topic we're gonna talk about today is how most problems exist in the mind. This is, the saying, people are like, oh, it's all in your head. And often said in like a kind of gaslighty way of almost as if your problems aren't real because that they are existing in your head. We're gonna dissect this a little bit and flip it around, because if you actually think about it, in our modern world, we don't have the same kind of physical problems that you would have had in a animalistic, barbarian, cave person type world, where your problems are actually physical. It is, am I gonna have a physically safe place to sleep tonight? Am I going to have enough food on the table, right? These are physical problems. Like you don't know if you're physically gonna make it till tomorrow, right? Or you're hunting or being hunted. That's a physical problem, right? But in our modern 21st century world, our world has evolved, but our brains have not evolved in the same way. And so there are parts of your brain that are still very much this fight or flight, and you can't tell the difference between a 21st century threat like getting stuck in traffic or a nasty email at work versus a physical threat. Our brains respond in the same way. And so many of our problems in today's world, what a blessing. How lucky are we that you're probably going to have a roof over your head tonight. You're probably going to have food on the table. You have a device that you're watching this on right now. Probably that means some kind of connection to Wi-Fi or cellular service. And so the physical aspects of our well-being are, and not to say for everybody, because some people actually don't have a safe place to sleep or know that they're going to have food on the table. And that's very much a physical problem. But if that's not you, which I'm guessing probably because you're watching this video, it's not. Majority of the problems we have, what are the things that stress you out, that cause the most amount of dis-ease in your life? A lot of it is mental. Physical health, that's different, right? But then if physically you're not 100% healthy, maybe you have some kind of disease, but then on top of it, the mental stress and anxiety a lot of times is just as painful as the physical stuff itself, because our minds start to spiral and go into overdrive. And so many of the problems in our modern world are actually in your head. And it doesn't mean that they're not real, right? It doesn't mean they don't affect you, but they are actually existing majority in your head. Even in such a digital world, in such an information or attention economy, where a lot of our work's online or using our brains, our knowledge, the problems are mental with that, right? The stress or the planning, the prioritization, how are we gonna get things done? What if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What if this person texts me? What if they don't? What if they like me? What if they don't? A lot of the stress that I see, at least my members and the people I talk to every day, they're more in your head. And so reframing this, instead of saying, oh, it's just in my head, that doesn't mean it's not real. It's actually, this is why we work on mindset. This is why I make these videos, because so much of your general sense of well-being on a day-to-day basis is what's happening up here in your mind, in your brain. And whether you're thinking positive, helpful thoughts, or you're spiraling, and then that starts to create disease physically in your body, manifesting as anxiety or low mood, right? Pause right there. Reflection, water break. So when we study mindset, this is why we work on this, so that the more power and influence, I don't want to say control, because I think that gets into a funky territory, but the more influence you have over your own mind, right? The more influence you have over the way you feel emotionally and physically. So I want you to reflect on okay, let's put it this way. I was actually having coffee with friends and I asked this question. I said, what are the biggest challenges in your life right now, professionally and personally, as well with entrepreneur friends, okay? So what's the biggest challenge in your business right now? And what is the biggest challenge in your personal life? And we all thought about it. And the answer, this was such a profound and reflective question. We had the best discussion. It was maybe that's what inspired this 10-minute daily. I don't know. And we were thinking, okay, there was similar sentiment of like in running a business, there's like uncertainty, and so much of it was not like physically what to do today, but it's things that are existing either in the future or in the past. A lot of times with the business, it's the future, like what's coming, what's going to happen. And personally, it was also this anxiety of not knowing when things are going to work out. And we've talked about this before. Like, I know it's been a long time, but uncertainty, how that's actually a facet of life. Like, we have to get comfortable that uncertainty is certain. You remember this? Uncertainty is certain. Like, there will always be uncertainty and there will always be change. That's how life works. And that's really hard when you go from a school system where there is so much certainty and there's checklists and guidebooks and curriculums and structures and people giving you gold stars and giving you a pat on the back and telling you you're doing a great job, you're on track, you're doing like, right? Versus as an adult, you don't have those in the same way. And so sometimes we start to crave that structure we had as kids and we look through that validation through things like external achievements. Are we hitting the right, quote unquote, right milestones at the right times? Are we following the right path? Are we doing the right things with our career? And we search for this external validation of these check marks to feel like we're on track. On track for what, right? What is it that we need to be on track for? What is the track? It is not even a social construct. A lot of times the track is actually, you've created it in your own mind of what the track makes sense. I'll give you an example. I have a lot of friends in this stage where some people feel like, oh, I'm so behind of like getting into relationships or getting married or on track to have kids. And a lot of times I'll ask, like, just out of curiosity, how old were your parents when they had you? And so frequently, the friends I have who feel this kind of pressure, like, oh, my parents were like 27 when they had me. How old are you? Like 28. Or like, they were, 29. I'm turning 29 this year. And then I have a lot of friends who their parents had them actually later in life. For me, for example, like my mom got married at 35. She had me at 38, my sister at 40. And I've never felt this pressure that I was like behind to get married or have kids, right? Because to me, like that's what created the construct of the timeline in my mind. And when I ask a lot of friends, subconsciously, and I'm like, it's not conscious, it's so subconscious, this little metric, it just impacts it. Neither's better or worse, right? Like there's no right or wrong timing, but that influences influences, not controls, not powers, but influences your idea of what the timeline should look like, right? And with any timeline, it's so influenced by the way you were raised and the people that are around you now, right? And so if you're feeling this, the majority of the stress in your life or the dis-ease or the actual problems you face on a day-to-day basis that are mental, right? In your mind. I don't say mental problems, that sounds wrong. But like, so much of it's in your mind. A lot of times it's based on some kind of timeline that you have created for yourself, right? Or maybe that exists in your existing social circle. But what if it was different? Like, what if you let go of the timeline? Because there's no such thing as unrealistic goals or unrealistic expectations, only unrealistic timelines. And so I think, especially for a lot of, I see all the time, we create these timelines of our lives. Where in your life do you feel like you're somehow too far ahead or too far behind? You're either doing too much or you're not doing enough. Everywhere. Like, what if we could just let that go? What if you could let that stress out of your mind? What could we fill your mind with instead? Because the thing is, it's taking up, there's like space in your brain, it's real estate. And so there's so much like stress and overthinking and spiraling is taking up all this space. So what can we fill this space with instead? So naturally there's less room for all the overthinking, for all the anxiety, right? For all the stress. What instead? And I don't mean making yourself busy as an avoidance tactic. That's a whole different topic for a whole different day. And it's so funny. Like, I think it's been literally a year since I posted a daily and it comes back like this. The only topic I had written down was like, most problems exist in your mind. That was like the topic for today. Maybe it's a topic for a different day, but that's your question for reflection. What can we fill your mind with instead? What do we need to let go of? And what do we need to make room of for more in your mind? I would highly recommend get out a pen, get out a paper, journal, and reflect on this, or just sit quietly by yourself. Make some space to reflect in your mind. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know if I'll be back, but I just felt really called for this one today. So if you like this, leave a comment as always, and we'll see. Maybe I'll see you again soon. Love ya.